Welcome, State of Events community, to Reimagine Events. This special event series features event professionals from varying sectors of our industry, sharing their stories of how they've had to reimagine events in a pandemic era. As benchmarks are reached for events to make a comeback, these professionals discuss how they have reimagined what our industry might look like. Welcome, State of Events family. I am Sonia Alcazar, your host for the State of Events podcast, and I am here with Sherry Boaz-Dorsey from Bright Event Rentals.
Hello.
Thank you so much for letting us come here today. I'm so excited. We are actually in the warehouse, y'all. We are in the showroom. We're going to get some great pictures for y'all. Y'all can see everything. But Sherry, thank you so much for letting us come.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. We love hosting people for tours, and so welcome.
So awesome. So I want to actually jump right into it. You have an interesting background. You actually started in DHL, Worldwide Express. Everyone knows DHL,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so please tell us about the convergence from working in that sector to here we are at Bright Event Rentals, working in the event industry. How did that happen for you?
Well, I was a Global Account International Director for DHL for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
So I knew my logistics background pretty well. I had the vertical segments of entertainment, which helped me here, entertainment, technology, and medical. And I was with them for 13 years, which was a great career path. I had heard about a position. Well, actually, I sold myself as a business development manager for this industry, and they had never had anything like that in the past. And I have a great friend that is a senior event director for Bright, and sold it to the vice president at that time and said, I think that's what you need, somebody to be a liaison for national and local accounts, because I was the regional business development director, the only one in the country at the time. So I could pursue not only national accounts, but local accounts and tie my background in for contracts, developing relationships, and really on the ground of what it looked like. And I do have an extensive business development background, so it was very easy for me to pivot and learn this industry and really get in and what it takes to build those contracts to be able to turnkey the operation, because there was 28 locations across the United States at that time. So it was a really neat transition, very, very overwhelming at times, because I was the, one-man show. And it worked very well, and that's where I found my passion. And I've been with Bright for 3 years, and they are just the best. And what's really nice about that is they have the same core values that I've always been looking for in a career and a company. And it just kind of has taken off from there.
That's important. Mm-hmm. Core values are huge.
Yes.
We have went through an overall as a podcast platform to really hone in on those core values and what we want to be particularly during this time. What are the core values with Bright that you find so dear to you?
Well, it's a team player. We're a team environment. Everybody opens up, and what everybody's compensated for is at a team. So you don't find one person just doing one job. Everybody pitches in at the same time to really build this as a new company in the area for the last 3 years. Our jobs speak for itself. We refer to each other as team members. Whether you're in the front of the house or the back house, you always chip in. You take a call if you need to take a call. You work a position, even if it's not your position, you can cross-train. It's really been interesting. You get out and, you'll watch jobs go up, which really I haven't been, on the job site that much, but now I really have, especially during this pandemic. One of the kind of heart-wrenching things about this pandemic, and it's really hit a lot of our team members.
Right.
We have only about 90% of our staff back right now, so it's very important for the staff that we do have to work efficiently, and also the long-term goal is to bring each and every one of our furloughed employees back. So that rests on our shoulders a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
That's been a consistent thing that, we're doing this Reimagine Event series. And I've just been blessed by hearing all the stories of how every sector of the event industry has had to pivot and identify what reopening and coming back looks like. And some of the stories that I've heard about furloughing staff and, there's silver lining, of course, in everything, which I think we've all learned, right? We've all learned how the silver lining matters so much now. But one of the interesting things is that it could have led to the demise of your career, right? So you're like, what do I do now? But then there's these stories in which people have actually been able to use this time as a launching pad for what they wanted to always do.
Absolutely.
You hear people saying, what?
I left and I actually was able to launch this dream that I had in my heart forever. Have you had any stories like that with your employees?
Well, we have. One of the nice things about this platform is it moves so fast. And I think that's another thing that I was used to in my past is the logistics field always goes. I mean, those packages have to be delivered. The entertainment jobs never stop. The event world never stops. Well, during this pandemic, everybody had to take a stop. I mean, it completely stopped. So what we've done is people have recreated what they've done in the past. People that have never had the opportunity to come in for tours have come in for tours, have re-engaged with the personnel that are here, and they've worked with other event directors, event consultants during this time. Now they're getting to know the whole team as one. They get to come in on Tuesdays. We come in on Tuesdays for our meetings, and we roundtable what's going on in the industry, what's new, how are we going to pivot, what's new in the industry, and then we go into how we had to pivot. Some of the things that we've done is we've done outdoor dining, gyms outside, a lot of them. We've done vaccination stations, testing stations. We've done outdoor schooling, outdoor gaming, this type of thing. There's just been a lot of things we've had to recreate, and this is people that have been in the event industry that were always inside that had to recreate their wheel, along with the virtuals that we looked at as well.
It's interesting because, I find it fascinating how the event industry can go either way depending on the sector that you're in, right? So we have, our catering sector has a very different story of how they had to reimagine their world of food and beverage, right? And then the hotel industry, which is absolutely a part of the event industry.
It's a big industry.
They've had to reimagine. And so when it comes to event rentals, when I was kind of doing my due diligence and research, I saw that you all had, it looked like business didn't stop. I mean, I saw those vaccine testing sites and I saw the different build outs that you did. Was there a stop and then you got this sort of clientele, or was it sort of like, hey, we need to identify what's needed right now and be an answer to that? How did that whole shift work?
I don't really believe that there was a stop. There was a time that everybody was furloughed for about 3 months. And then they brought people back slowly and kind of re-brightified them, if you will. But to say that it stopped, it didn't stop. We kept identifying. I mean, we regurgitate information all the time with each other, especially in these meetings. I mean, we have ongoing meetings of what's going on, what are they going to need out. And, we keep in touch with our event planners and our hotels and our resorts and what are you looking for? What do you need? And one of the nice things that Bright did is we put up these outdoor structures for some of the larger hotels or even the smaller ones. And when it shut down again, we didn't charge the clients. So it was really nice of what we did. We had like a lower cost for them because everybody's struggling and we're all in this together. And we realized that, and clients realized that more importantly, and kept in contact with those people for a long time. A lot of the folks were furloughed as well. And so we really got to know some of the GMs and some of the people that never had time to meet us before. So the completely event department weren't even available or they were gone. And now they're just starting to come back. So those emails are starting to come back and the connections are starting to come back. So that's been really interesting about, how we pivoted through this whole thing.
So awesome. I want to get into reimagining normal, right? It's going to be a new normal, right? Spoiler alert, in case you didn't know, we're not going back to normal. We're going to have a new normal, right? It's going to be a new normal.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I believe though with where we were is one of the things I have to go back to is when we were talking about, we changed things. Like we did a couple virtual events that I have to say were just at the time that everybody was down and out. And Bright said, what can we do to get, the product in there into some of the planners' hands? So we had 5 chefs and caterers that we worked with all the way from Santa Barbara down to San Diego. And we had a host, and it was an hour and 10 minutes in a virtual segment. And it was at home with Bright. So there was a movie night, a children's playhouse, and it was all socially distanced, which was fantastic. It was planners that were anywhere from Santa Barbara, all the way down to San Diego. And the segments were an hour and 10 minutes long. And each of them had, 15 minutes or whatever to explain their little vignettes and what they were doing at home and the book night or whatever it was. And they
Wow.
had chandeliers, and it was beautiful. And they could use that for their social media as well.
So your product was at their location.
And they picked it all out. We sent it out there to them.
You didn't call me.
I'm sorry about
Just
that.
saying.
Yeah, next
Whoever's
time.
back
Well,
there,
hopefully we don't
Y'all
have.
didn't invite me. I'm just kidding. I love it. I love it.
Hopefully we don't have to do that again.
I know,
You could-
right?
You could do that with social.
No, but could that possibly be a part of the new normal, though?
Possibly.
To have
Oh,
this
sure.
sort of, because I don't think that the streaming nor the virtual component is actually going to go away. I think that's a consensus amongst my constituents in the industry that there will be this virtual component. And so I'm wondering,
I think so.
have you all maybe thought about what implementing the virtual component, this hybrid model, is going to be?
I think somewhat.
Okay.
We could have a virtual. I really think that people need the human touch, though.
Absolutely.
I think that's something that we've really missed in that last year, especially with the children being at home and this kind of thing, and even adults being at home. I think people really need to get out there. But when we did it with the chefs, that was really fun. They used all of our tablescape, and they picked out what they wanted to use, and they served, a entree, dessert, and paired it with different mocktails and whatnot. And that was darling. It was really a great idea. It was very heartfelt. That was about an hour and 10 minutes. There was 5 of them, some of the larger names in the LA basin. And it was so fun. I mean, it was really people really enjoyed it because they had been at home for so long and they had nothing new. One of the other things that we've done that was really key to keep everybody engaged out there is our social media. We've been doing a lot of photo shoots, probably 20 photo shoots I've done in the last, I would say, 4 months at different locations.
Wow.
To really get the media out. Now it's just starting to come out. Well, all these products that we have were brand new at coming in between January and March of that pandemic year, and then we didn't get to use them for a while because now we were doing other things. So this is all of our new products that we had to, showcase. Not only that, but some of your event planners that were getting ready for, post-pandemic were able to use these things and really push them out into their social media, which is beautiful. So follow us on Instagram and follow us on Facebook.
Go ahead, shameless plug. Go ahead. How do we follow?
BrightEventRentals.com. And Facebook, you'll find us on there as well. So great pictures coming out.
They are.
Yes,
They're super. And
really
we're going to
pretty.
go to the back in a little while, and you have these trucks lined up. This is just, I want to live here.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, you have enough build outs for me to actually get a room.
It's a nice place, a home away from home for sure.
So events, obviously the word event is in person, and they typically were in person. So as we reimagine what normal will be for this sort of in-person component coming back, how do you see the event rental space reopening? Like, what is that going to look like? How have you had to reimagine what reopening looks like? We have this whole element now of sanitation stations and adhering to protocols for health and safety. And, we have hand sanitizers and masks out now. You have another, tablescape that has
Yes.
this. So how have you really sort of reimagined what normal looks like in the way to, be available?
Well, you bring up a good point. And that's one of the points that we pivoted on as well, is we have a whole sanitation and health and hygiene program. So not only do hand washing stations, we have standalone sanitization stations. The way we deliver product to the field, the way we clean it up and bring it back. Our team members pretty much have it wired. They're wearing masks out there. They're socially distanced the best way they can be when they're delivering furniture and whatnot. We have a complete protocol when you come into our office in the morning. Employees included. There's a temperature gauge, 5 or 6 COVID questions. We go through the back and then come in through the warehouse. We only take appointments only right now at our different locations. One of the nice things about this is we were able to open a Costa Mesa facility during this COVID time, and it's a darling little industrial building right off of Baker, little plug there. And we have another one over in the south, on the west side up in Beverly Hills. So we do have 3 locations here. And we do appointments only at all of those locations, but that's another thing that we've done.
Last thing I want to cover, and the discretion is all yours, but reimagining revenue. So you've described the virtual events that you all had. You've described opening up, different vaccination sites or COVID testing sites to sort of reimagine what revenue looks like in this season. What are some of those earlier pivots that you had to make to reimagine revenue? And then what are the things that you'll be sustaining?
Well, that's interesting. Our management team has been very cognizant of what the industry is going through and making sure that we do the right thing, because that's who Bright is. We're not going to gouge anybody. We're not going to increase pricing, this type of thing. Our jobs speak for themselves. We understand when somebody is going through something, and we'll take that into consideration. Each client is different, so we don't pigeonhole everybody, because everybody's unique in this industry, which is very important. That's why we have certain processes. And we take each client, and that's part of the roundtable that we do as a team. Tell us about this team. Tell us what they're looking for. What is the end result? You know, when they shut down, for instance, when the restaurant shut down right before Thanksgiving, I believe it was, what did we do at that time? Well, we can't, these people, you know, there was like 1% of occupancy at some of these resorts, and you're just like, how are these people going to pay for this? So, you know, Bright came and said, we need to revisit this. And our management team and our upper management team really revisited and did a great job. So keep that in our own little cards here. But yeah,
that's important.
We take every client as a family member, and, you know, they're part of the Bright team. So therefore, you know, tell us what you need. Tell us what you're looking for, and we'll work with you the best way we can. Because everybody's in it to, you know, have a profit and stay above. But we know that everybody's struggling right now in our industry, and everybody has felt it. It's reverberated throughout the industry.
Right. It has transcended.
It has.
We've had so many conversations about this collaborative sort of attitude that we now have. Where once upon a time, there might have been this level of competition that, whether unhealthy or not, it existed. And now it's sort of like, we can't really be competing right now. We need to work together.
We do need to work together. And, you know, it's been really fun. And I say how we really love to have people come in and take tours. I'm like the tour guide. And I know people for the last 6 years that have never had time to come in and visit. And they're just like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize you did all this. I didn't realize that you could be a team on this, and you could, you know, do events this way or that way, or up north or out, you know, Vegas way. And we can do everything if we just have enough time and partnership is there. Right.
Having a collaborative approach.
Absolutely.
It's going to be really huge. It's going to be really huge too. I answered a question this week about what does reopening look like under the COVID standard. What does safely opening look like? And one of the things I mentioned is that collaboration. How did you what are you doing that's, you know, has the safety implication? What are you doing that has a safety implication? It's really getting this sort of consensus.
Collaborative.
Yeah, let's put our ideas together to present to the industry. Here's how to safely do things. There's been this whole controversy within the industry on whether or not to open up, how quickly, all of these other kind of conversations, obviously. Sherry, this is important. Event director in my world means one thing as the one producing the event, but now when I hire Bright and I rent from them, have them come in and do, you know, the whole setup, what does event director mean in that instance? How can I interface as a planner with the event director?
Well, I think that's a grand scope, because not only are they going to walk the event, or they have a CAD for it, but they also will say the best layout. I mean, how is it going to streamline? How is it going to flow through the event? What are they looking for? You know, really, they're your right-hand man with the event person. And maybe the event person the planner has a vision to do it this way. There's always different ways to do it, and so they'll have different ideas for that. And they're so savvy, and they've been doing it for so many years. There's so much experience here that they work very well with the planners, for sure, on best layout and the best end result.
Right. So bringing that logistical component is really sort of
very important.
That background that they have to have.
Yeah, they're very well versed in various aspects. Yeah.
I love that.
And then we, you know, also we have a team of our leads in the back of the house, and our drivers, and just our whole team, and they help doing a round table for events, whether they be small or large, or how's the best way to work this. And this is part of our meetings on Tuesday. Operations is in there, so they dialogue all the time on, what's the delivery look like? What's the load in look like? What's the strike look like? Is there anything special that we need to know? So we cover all angles prior to getting in, and to make it almost turnkey operation when they're there. And they know the venues.
Right.
We have a venue report that goes into our system that you can upload it so anybody can take over. And there's always a team of people. So nobody owns actually an account. It usually is a team in case one of our team member is out on sick leave or PTO or just, a regular vacation. There's always a team that can take over for some of these large events. And then all the information is in our in-house system, so they can pull it up at that time, which we update on an ongoing basis.
One question I have been asking in this series is, what is your wish for the event industry? It's not going to come back, as we've established, it's not going to come back as normal, but what does the new normal look like in Sherry's eyes?
Well, I believe that's a little different for different venues. I mean, if you're outdoor venues, you can be 6 foot distancing. Indoor venues, now they're saying it can be up to 300 probably by the end of April, something like that. I don't know the exact. It's going to be different. I mean, you're going to have to reimagine.
Thank you to Sherry and the entire Bright team for providing insight. TSOE community, please join us on our YouTube channel, The State of Events, next week to watch us tour the amazing Bright facility. You won't want to miss this. You've been listening to The State of Events, where event professionals connect. For more episodes, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. To engage with us on social media, look for @TSOE Community. That's @TSOE Community. You can also visit our Facebook page, The State of Events. Make sure you stay connected by joining our newsletter. And lastly, we would love to hear from you. If you have topic suggestions, if you want to be a guest on the show, send us an email to inquiries@thestateofevents.com. That's inquiries@thestateofevents.com.